I will not cook for you, Ebenezer. Never again. Felicia's voice cut through the morning air like a machete through sugarcane. She stood in their Victoria Island mansion's kitchen, her silk robe shimmering under the chandelier light, her perfectly manicured nails pointing at her husband like weapons. Look at these hands! Do they look like they belong in a pot of soup? Chief Ebenezer Ikenna set down his coffee cup slowly, the china making a soft clink against the marble counter. At 55, he had built an empire from nothing, owned half the real estate in Lagos's business district, yet he couldn't remember the last time his wife had made him a simple meal. Felicia, I'm not asking for much. Just once in a while a home-cooked meal. Like when we first married. That was 15 years ago. She laughed, but there was no warmth in it. I was young and stupid then. I didn't know that rich men hire cooks. I didn't know that wives of billionaires don't sweat in kitchens like common market women. Chief Ikenna studied his wife's face. The woman who had once served him jollof rice with trembling, excited hands on their first anniversary now looked at him with disgust at the mere suggestion of cooking. My mother cooked for my father until the day she died, he said quietly. She was the wife of a successful man. Yet she found joy in— Your mother was a village woman, Felicia snapped. I am not your mother. I am Felicia Ikenna, and everyone in Lagos knows my name. Do you see Shade Adelika cooking? Do you see Ronka Badmus sweating over a stove? No. Their husbands respect them enough to hire proper help. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the vast kitchen that had every modern appliance money could buy, yet hadn't seen a proper home-cooked meal in years. So, what do you want me to do? Chief Ikenna asked, though he already knew the answer. Get a maid, Felicia said, adjusting her gold necklace. Get two if you want. Get a cook, a cleaner, someone to do the laundry. I don't care. But I will not, and I repeat, will not lift a finger in this house except to call my driver or count my money. She picked up her phone, her attention already shifting to her Instagram feed. Oh, and make sure the maid is competent. I don't want to deal with some slow village girl who can't understand simple instructions. Chief Ikenna watched his wife scroll through her phone, double-tapping pictures, living her life through a screen. The woman he'd fallen in love with at a bank in Surulere, who had worn simple dresses and spoken with gentle words, had disappeared completely. Fine, he said, his voice carrying a weight that Felicia didn't notice. I'll get a maid. Good. She didn't look up. And make it quick. The house is getting dusty and I have friends coming for drinks on Friday. As Chief Ikenna walked to his study, his footsteps echoed in the empty hallway. The mansion felt cold despite the warm Lagos morning. Pictures lined the walls, their wedding, vacations in Dubai, parties with Lagos elite. But in every photo, the distance between them seemed to grow wider. He sat at his desk and picked up his phone. His younger brother, James, had mentioned that his housekeeper's niece was looking for work in Lagos, a young woman from the village who needed a job desperately to help her sick mother. James, he said when his brother answered. That girl you mentioned, the one looking for housework, is she still available? Yes, brother. Her name is Amara, very respectful girl, but I must warn you, she's from a poor family, simple people. Chief Ikenna looked through his study window at his wife lounging by the pool, taking selfies. Simple might be exactly what this house needs, he said. 2 weeks. That's all it would take to change everything. Though Chief Ikenna didn't know it yet. 2 weeks until a young woman with nothing but a worn bag and a humble heart would walk through his gates and show him what he had been missing all along. The gates of the Victoria Island mansion opened slowly, and Amara Okiya stood frozen for a moment, clutching her small Ghana must-go bag like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. The house before her looked like something from the movies her younger siblings watched on their neighbor's television back in the village. At 22, Amara had already lived through more hardship than most people twice her age. Her father had died falling from a palm tree when she was 15. Her mother now lay sick in their small room back in Anambra, coughing blood that the local medicine man couldn't cure. This job was her only hope. You must be Amara, a deep voice said. She looked up to see Chief Ebenezer Ikenna standing at the entrance, dressed in a simple white shirt and trousers. He looked older than in the pictures she'd seen in newspapers, but his eyes were kind. Good morning, sir, she said, dropping to her knees in greeting, the way her mother had taught her. Please, stand up, Chief Ikenna said quickly, seeming uncomfortable with the gesture. Come inside. My wife will want to meet you. The cold air from the air conditioning hit her like a wall. Everything was marble and gold, surfaces so clean she could see her reflection. Her worn sandals made small sounds against the floor that seemed to echo. Felicia was in the living room, lying on a white leather sofa, her phone in one hand, a glass of champagne in the other, even though it was barely noon. So you're the maid, Felicia said without looking up. Can you cook? Yes, Ma, Amara replied. Clean? Yes, Ma. Do you know how to hand wash silk and Italian lace? I can learn, Ma. Felicia finally looked at her, eyes scanning from her wrapped hair to her simple dress to her worn sandals. You'll have to. I don't want my expensive clothes ruined by village washing methods. Felicia, Chief Ikenna said, a warning in his voice. What? I'm just making sure she understands. Felicia stood up, walking around Amara like she was inspecting goods at the market. You'll wake up at 5 every morning. Clean the entire house before I wake up at 10. Breakfast should be ready by the time I come downstairs. Lunch at 2, dinner at 8. Laundry twice a week. Hand wash only for my delicate items. The garden needs tending. The cars need washing. And I don't want to see you unless I call for you. Understood? Yes, Ma, Amara whispered. Good. Your room is in the boys' quarters behind the house. Now go make lunch. I'm tired of the restaurant food we've been eating. Amara bowed and headed to the kitchen, her bag still in her hand. Behind her, she heard Chief Ikenna say, You could be kinder, Felicia. Kind? I'm giving her a job. That's kind enough. The kitchen was bigger than her entire family compound back home. Amara set down her bag and opened the refrigerator, finding ingredients that could feed her village for a week. She thought of her mother, lying on that thin mattress, waiting for the money that would buy medicine. I can do this, Mama, she whispered to herself, tying her wrapper tighter. For you, I can do anything. By evening, the aroma of egusi soup filled the house. Amara had prepared the meal with the same care she used to cook for her father before he died, each ingredient measured with love rather than just precision. Chief Ikenna took the first spoonful and closed his eyes. This tastes like... He paused, emotion crossing his face. Like my mother's cooking. How did you... My grandmother was from your village, sir, Amara said softly. She taught me the old way of cooking. Felicia pushed her plate away after one bite. Too much oil! Make something lighter tomorrow. That night, as Amara lay on the thin mattress in the boys' quarters, she pulled out her small phone and called her mother. Mama, I got the job. I'll send money next week. You'll get better, I promise. She didn't know that Chief Ikenna stood by his bedroom window, watching the light from the boys' quarters, wondering why the arrival of this simple girl had stirred something in his chest he thought had died long ago. 6 months had passed since Amara arrived, and the mansion had transformed in ways that had nothing to do with its appearance. The walls were still white, the marble still gleamed, but something invisible had changed, like the house had finally learned how to breathe. Every morning, Chief Ikenna woke to the smell of fresh bread and brewing tea. His clothes appeared pressed and perfect without him asking. The garden bloomed with flowers he didn't remember planting, but it was the small things that caught his attention most. The way Amara hummed old Igbo songs while working, how she greeted the gateman with genuine warmth, how she never complained even when Felicia's demands became unreasonable. And Felicia's demands had become very unreasonable. Amara! Felicia's voice rang out one Thursday afternoon. Come here immediately! Amara rushed from the kitchen, flour still on her hands from making chin-chin for the evening's guests. She found Felicia in the living room, holding an expensive white dress. There's a tiny stain here, Felicia said, pointing to an invisible mark. This dress costs more than your family makes in 10 years. You've ruined it. Ma, I can clean it. Shut up! Felicia threw the dress at Amara's face. You village girls are all the same. Careless, stupid. Chief Ikenna walked in just as the dress hit Amara. Felicia, what are you doing? Your precious maid ruined my dress, Felicia said, not bothering to lower her voice. I'm sorry, sir, Amara said, picking up the dress carefully. I'll fix it. You better, Felicia snapped. And when you're done, clean all the bathrooms again. I saw a water spot on one of the mirrors. That evening, Chief Ikenna found Amara in the garden, on her knees, pulling weeds with her bare hands. The setting sun painted everything gold, and for a moment she looked almost otherworldly. Her face was peaceful despite the day's humiliation. "You shouldn't do that without gloves," he said. She looked up, startled, then smiled. "It's okay, sir. The earth doesn't hurt me. It reminds me of home." He sat on the garden bench, something he'd never done before. "Tell me about home." "It's nothing like here, sir," she said, still working. "Just a small compound. 4 rooms, a zinc roof that leaks when it rains. But we were happy. Before Papa died, before Mama got sick, we would sit outside in the evenings, telling stories, laughing at nothing." Her voice caught. "I miss laughing at nothing. How is your mother?" Amara's hands stilled. "The medicine helps, but it's not enough. The doctor says she needs surgery. 3 million naira." She laughed bitterly. "Might as well be 3 billion. Chief Ikenna watched her return to the weeds, her fingers gentle despite their work. His monthly champagne budget for Felicia was twice what Amara needed to save her mother's life. "Amara," he said softly, "why don't you ever complain? My wife treats you terribly. The work is hard, yet you're always peaceful." She sat back on her heels, considering the question. "My grandmother used to say that water has no enemy because it takes the shape of whatever contains it. It doesn't fight, it flows. If I can be like water, maybe I can survive anything." She looked at him directly for the first time. "Besides, sir, you've given me hope." That's more than I had before. Something shifted in Chief Ikenna's chest, a feeling he couldn't name. This young woman, who had every reason to be bitter, choosing gratitude instead, who owned nothing but gave everything, who was treated like dirt but responded with grace. "Sir," Amara's voice brought him back. "Are you okay?" "Yes," he said, though he wasn't sure that was true. "Yes, I'm fine." Later that night, unable to sleep, he stood at his bedroom window watching the boys' quarters. He could hear Felicia on the phone with her friends, planning another shopping trip to Dubai with his money. And he found himself thinking about water, how it could wear down the hardest stone, not through force but through patience. He didn't yet realize he was the stone, and Amara was changing him drop by drop. The breaking point came on a humid Saturday evening, exactly 1 year after Amara's arrival. Chief Ikenna had invited his mother's relatives from the village for his late mother's remembrance. It was a sacred tradition, one that meant everything to him. Felicia had promised to be there. She lied. The elders sat in the living room, dressed in their best traditional clothes, waiting. Chief Ikenna's phone buzzed with a message from Felicia. "At Shade's pool party. Can't leave now. Your village people will understand." Elder Amadi, the oldest among them, placed a gentle hand on Chief Ikenna's shoulder. "Your wife is busy with important things, I'm sure." The shame burned through him like acid. These were the people who had raised him, who had contributed their last kobo to send him to university, and his wife couldn't even pretend to respect them. From the kitchen, the aroma of perfectly prepared ofen sala filled the air. Amara had been cooking since dawn, preparing all the traditional dishes even though Felicia had told her not to bother. "They can eat pizza," she had said. "Who prepared this food?" Elder Amadi asked after tasting the soup. "It tastes exactly like your mother's, may she rest in peace." Chief Ikenna found Amara in the kitchen, tears streaming down her face as she packed more food into containers. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Nothing, sir. I wish I could have met your mother. Anyone who raised a man as kind as you must have been wonderful." She wiped her eyes quickly. "I used my savings to buy the special ingredients from the market, the ones from our village. I wanted to honor her properly." Chief Ikenna stood frozen. This girl, who barely had enough to eat sometimes, had spent her own money to honor a woman she'd never met, while his wife of 15 years couldn't even show up. "Come," he said suddenly. "Come and eat with us." "Sir, I couldn't." "It's not proper. Please." She followed him hesitantly. When she entered the living room, she immediately knelt before the elders, greeting them properly in Igbo, asking about their health, their families, showing the respect Felicia had never bothered to learn. Elder Amadi smiled. "This is how a daughter behaves," he said to Chief Ikenna. "You've trained her well." "She came this way," Chief Ikenna replied, his voice thick with emotion. That night, after the elders had gone, Chief Ikenna made his decision. He found Felicia on the balcony, taking selfies with the city lights behind her. "We need to talk," he said. "If it's about your village people, I told you I was busy. I want a divorce." The phone fell from her hand. "What?" "You heard me. This marriage is over, Felicia. We're both just pretending, and I'm tired of it." She laughed harshly. "You can't be serious." "Because I missed one small gathering." "Because you've forgotten what love means." "Because you treat everyone like they're beneath you." "Because you've become someone I don't recognize anymore." "And what will people say?" "That Chief Ikenna divorced his wife? You'll be the laughing stock of Lagos." "I'd rather be laughed at than live another day in this emptiness." Felicia's eyes narrowed. "It's that Maid, isn't it? You've been watching her like a fool. You want to disgrace yourself with a common housegirl. She's shown me more humanity in 1 year than you have in 15. The divorce papers were served within a month. Felicia got her 40%, but she lost something more valuable. Her reputation crumbled when her affairs with 3 different Lagos big boys came to light during the proceedings. On a quiet Tuesday evening, 2 months after the divorce was finalized, Chief Ikenna found Amara in the garden where he'd watched her so many times. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. "Amara," he said, his heart pounding like a young man's, "I need to tell you something." She turned to face him, and in her eyes, he saw something that made his next words easier and harder all at once. "She loved him to Amara," Chief Ikenna said, pulling out a small velvet box from his pocket. "You came into this house as a maid, but you became the light that showed me what I was missing. You treated me with respect when you had every reason not to. You honored my mother's memory when my own wife wouldn't. You showed me that true wealth isn't in bank accounts, but in the richness of the heart." Amara's hands flew to her mouth, tears already forming in her eyes. "I'm not asking you to be my maid anymore," he continued, going down on one knee right there in the garden she had tended with such love. "I'm asking you to be my wife. Will you marry me?" "Sir, I'm nobody. I'm just a village girl. What will people say? Let them say what they want. I've lived my life for people's opinions long enough. You're not nobody, Amara. You're everything Felicia wasn't. Kind, humble, respectful, genuine. You're everything I need. But the age difference, my family's poverty, everything. Your family's poverty doesn't define you. Your character does. And you have the richest character I've ever known." He opened the box, revealing a simple diamond ring. "Please, Amara, make me the happiest man in Lagos. Marry me." Through her tears, she whispered, "Yes." The wedding, 3 months later, was nothing like his first one. No 1,000 guests, no celebrity musicians, no convoy of luxury cars. Just family, close friends, and the household staff who had watched their love story unfold. Amara wore a simple white dress that she had chosen herself, refusing the designer gown Chief Ikenna had offered. Elder Amadi officiated the traditional ceremony, his voice strong as he blessed their union. "This is what our ancestors meant by marriage," he said. "Not contracts between bank accounts, but covenant between hearts." Amara's mother, Mama Nena, sat in a wheelchair, still weak but present. Chief Ikenna had flown her to India for treatment immediately after the engagement, keeping his promise. The surgery had been successful, though recovery would take time. "You saved my daughter," Mama Nena had told him with tears in her eyes. "But more than that, you saw her worth when the world only saw her poverty." As they exchanged vows, Amara's voice was steady and clear. "I promise to build a home with you, not just a house. To honor you in plenty and in want, to never let pride destroy what humility can build." The Lagos elite gossiped, of course. "Can you imagine? He married his maid," they whispered at their parties. But something interesting happened. Many of their own husbands started coming home earlier, started looking at their wives differently, started questioning what really mattered. 6 months into their marriage, the mansion had truly transformed. Laughter echoed through halls that had once known only silence. The staff worked with joy because Amara treated them like family, not servants. She still woke up at 5 every morning, not because she had to, but because she wanted to prepare her husband's breakfast herself. "You don't have to do this," Chief Ikenna would tell her. We have cooks now. Love serves, she would reply simply. That's what my grandmother taught me. In the evenings, they would sit in the garden where he had proposed, talking about everything and nothing. She was taking business classes now, determined to be more than just a wife, to build something of her own while supporting her husband's empire. Do you ever regret it? She asked one evening as they watched the sunset. Choosing me over her? Choosing simplicity over glamour? Chief Ikenna pulled her closer. Felicia was fool's gold, shiny on the surface but worthless beneath. You're like the earth itself, overlooked by many, but containing all the treasures that matter. How could I regret choosing substance over shadows? As the stars appeared over Lagos, Amara thought about the journey that had brought her here, from a dying mother and empty pockets to healing and abundance. Not just material abundance, but abundance of love, respect, and purpose. Love really does win, she whispered. Always, Chief Ikenna replied. It just sometimes comes in packages we don't expect. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment at the comment section below.